Welcome into sports tonight. Emily Gagnon here with Lee Smith, photographer, producer. He's a human who comes on this show quite a bit. I know, human. I know. I can always be more graceful, can't I, in my words?
No, I like it.
But he makes quite a few appearances on here, so he is not new to you, not new to me. Today we went to Falcons Flowery Branch. I can't speak.
Falcons Flowery Branch.
Yeah,
That's
Falcons
what we went to.
training camp in Flowery Branch. They've been going at it for like 3 weeks now, so I'm sure they're pretty sick of being in camp, want to go and live in their own homes with their families. But practice today. Afterwards, we heard from Desmond Ridder, the quarterback, who will be playing in the second preseason game of the preseason, the second preseason game of the preseason.
Game, yeah.
Man, I'm on it today, aren't I?
You got it.
Yeah, so that's Friday against the Bengals at home here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 7:30. Your thoughts after hearing from him, Lee?
Well, it should be a good dress rehearsal. He sounded like he was really pumped to get everything going and start his era as quarterback for the Falcons. And, he got 4 starts last year, so he does have a
2-2.
2-2. A little bit of experience. Not a whole lot, but luckily for him, Terry Fontenot in the front office have pulled some moves, and they've got plenty of offense, or on paper they have plenty of offense. Bijan Robinson, like we've been talking about, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Tyler Algier, Jonnu Smith. So he said he was ready to go, and he can't wait. So we'll see what's going on Friday.
My favorite story, and you know where I'm going right now, Lee, from what Desmond Ridder told us today, was that he told us how one of his high school coaches told us that nerves are for the unprepared, and that he has always thought about that. He lives by that motto. He's not nervous entering the preseason, because he feels prepared. He says when he goes out there, he tries to slow the game down so he can focus. But when he's not prepared, that's when he knows he's trying to speed things up. And it made a lot of sense when he talked about it. He sounded like a very mature quarterback when he was talking about that. So I'll forever remember that.
Well, yeah, it was a funny little saying. It was catchy. I like that. I've never heard that one before, but I do like that. So shout out to Desmond Ridder's high school coach.
Yeah, well, and you want to know that, Lee, anytime I'm losing my voice here, all of a sudden, anytime that I get nervous, I feel the opposite. So if I'm nervous, that's when I know I care. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, well, yeah.
If I'm just like even keeled, then whatever. But if I feel any nerves at all, I'm like, oh man, like I care, or I like this, or whatever. If I feel that emotion, then I know that something has really piqued my interest.
Different strokes for different folks, though, right?
So when he feels nerves, he doesn't feel prepared, which is not a good thing for a quarterback.
Yeah.
So we'll also see the Rook.
Well, I hope he feels prepared, because he might get actually hit.
Yeah, well, he said he wants to get hit,
He said
though.
he wants to get hit. So.
He told us that was another interesting bit today. He said he wanted to get hit. It helps him a little bit, like wakes him up, lets him know that like he's here. He's got some plays to make.
I don't think a 300-pound defensive tackle hitting me would
not
basically
into
wake
it.
me up.
Yeah.
I think I would be like out at that point.
Yeah, sleeping. Good night.
That's just me, though.
But yeah, we'll see Bijan Robinson too. I don't think we'll see any of these guys much, maybe a couple of series. Perhaps Kyle Pitts, might see him out there, maybe catch one pass and go right out, might not see him at all.
Yeah.
But, I think for me, if he hadn't been injured, I'd have been like, I'm great without Pitts doing anything in the preseason. But just because he's coming off of an injury, hasn't played since November, maybe you want to get him out there for 2 or 3 plays. But you always run the risk of injuring your players at any time, and during the preseason that's just not a good time to get injured. There's never a good time, but I would think that preseason and knocking somebody out in the preseason's got to be the worst way.
Well, and also losing some game checks, because you get hurt in the preseason. That's also not that's not plan A for anybody.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Anything else?
No, I'm just looking forward. Like defense played really well against the Dolphins, but it's guys that might not make the team. So now we'll get a better idea.
Well, and guys that might not make the team, who would you cut?
Oh, that's right. Okay. I came up with this topic too.
Terrible.
So of all of the players on the team right now, if you
These
had the
people are trying to earn a
opportunity,
living, and you're like,
if you had the opportunity to cut one player, and this is not me being mean.
No, I know.
This is me just saying, like, who could you cut?
You just threw me
I've done this.
Right there.
I've done this with the Hawks before, and I'm like, DeAndre Hunter, cut him now.
No,
See, like, I have very strong opinions when it comes to DeAndre Hunter, because you get like 2 30-point games from him per season, and that's it. And you're paying him like $1 trillion.
Okay, well, yeah.
And I mean, yes. So that's for the Hawks. For the Falcons, I think I mentioned to you when I was trying to come up with this topic, maybe Keith Smith. And then you said what? What'd you say, Lee?
I said, wait a minute, Keith Smith. Who's that? He's got to be a fullback, right?
So,
and of course, he's a fullback.
So the greatest thing about that is that, like, I want to cut him, and Lee doesn't even know the guy's on the team, and he's been on the team for like 3 or 4 years.
I honestly didn't. Well, they don't. I don't feel.
I
like
have no hatred towards him. I think he's a great guy, nice guy in the locker room. But like,
well, I don't feel like you ever hear a football.
But if you've been on the team that long and you've been covering them that long, and you don't even know he's on the team,
I know.
That tells me it's time to move on from the guy. And I'm trying to pick somebody who's not just like a new player, just arrived to the team. I'm trying to pick somebody who's like been there, and it's like, okay, or Caleb McGarry.
Well, yeah,
I don't think he'll make it much longer.
You don't think so? I mean,
he's a big dude.
Yeah, but they gotta have offensive linemen. I mean,
I know, but they drafted him in the first round with Chris Lindstrom, who's held up his end of the deal.
Yeah, it does look a little bad when the guy that was drafted with you is like a first team All-Pro.
But those two are monsters. They're like
he's
huge.
A big dude.
All right, so you're not getting out of this. Who would you cut, Lee?
Well, first of all, I'm not a GM.
It doesn't matter. I'm not either. That's not part of this game. You're Lee Smith, and if you could cut anybody on the team,
I don't want to cut anybody.
Who would you cut? Go.
Oh, goodness.
You've had like at least an hour to think about this.
Well, I don't want to think about negative. This is going to affect
Who
somebody's
would you
life.
cut? No, it's not. The Falcons aren't listening to us. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, they're not listening to what we're saying
right
now.
I wouldn't want to cut anybody, but I don't think...
I heard it. Who would you cut if you could?
I don't think John Fitzpatrick is going to make the team, just simply... And I know Georgia fans are, don't get in your feelings on this. This is an Alabama-Georgia thing. I just don't think he's good enough with the talent they brought in at tight end to make the team.
He's tall. He's got the size.
He's tall. He's definitely... And the thing is, I think
he's not a bad athlete.
Well, no, and I think he could actually, like, on any other tight end room other than maybe the Chiefs, because they have, you know, Travis Kelce, that he could actually, like, be productive for somebody. I just don't think he's going to get a whole lot of chances here in Atlanta with Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts, because they're also on the field and they're going to have to be
getting
splitting
paid
carries.
more.
Well, but they're also going to have to be splitting the rock with Bijan and Drake, and so like I don't really see him getting snaps. So that's why I would say I would cut him, because I don't think he's going to see the field.
Look at Lee, man, putting his GM hat on even though he didn't want to.
No.
All right.
See, I would never be a GM. I couldn't do that. I don't want to ruin somebody's life like that.
No, that's no fun.
I can't do that.
That's no fun at all. Nobody wants to do that, especially for those guys who like football's their life.
Talking about taking hopes away from the teams, the Braves absolutely dominated the Yankees last night.
Crush.
Absolutely.
11-3.
Absolutely
Final.
dominated again.
Yep.
Takeaways from that.
Well, listen, over the weekend, they won 3 of 4 against the Mets. So back-to-back New York teams. I just can't imagine what it's like to be a player in that clubhouse right now. I think about it quite often. I'm like, these guys just come in, like walk in, go out there, and they're like kids in a candy store. They've hit like 1 billion home runs this season. Matt Olson's balling out. I just want to know what it's like for like a whole week to just walk into your office, have so much fun with like your friends basically, and win.
Know that you have a highly, highly likely chance of winning that day.
Yeah.
And then you don't know what you're going to see out of anybody 1 through 9, because they could all go off at any point.
It's crazy. Marcell Ozuna's found himself, though. Like, at the beginning of the season, it was clear to me, Lee, I don't know about you, that, like, they being, like, the Braves front office was basically waiting for him to mess up. That's my interpretation of it.
The guy, he was hitting, like, 083.
And he
at
was,
one
like,
point.
he was a bigger dude.
Yep.
Had one too many candies in the candy store.
Oh, come on.
But right now, he's like found his rhythm. His
Yeah.
swing looks so good. He's like, I mean, he's killing it right now. So I'm super happy for him because, I mean, to be honest with you, he's been nothing but kind to me. All the players in that clubhouse have been superb.
Well, Matt Olson's having an MVP caliber season. So is Ronald Acuna.
He still leads the league in home runs right now.
Yes.
I mean,
does.
he passed
He does.
Shohei Ohtani over the weekend.
Yes.
But they have like
Yeah, he still
230
leads.
home runs. I don't even think there's a club anywhere near them.
No. No.
But they have 2 more against the Yankees tonight and tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
bad news
okay.
though. Ozzy Albies is out.
Yeah. I know.
Hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Von Grissom called back up.
Yep.
And we've got to talk about
so
Nicky
we-
Lopez,
we-
who, like, holy Moses. Where do you find these guys,
don't
Braves?
know.
Like,
I
how
don't
do
know.
you guys do this?
I don't know. It's amazing. Alex Anthopoulos is just
He's Canadian.
okay.
That's his genius.
Cool.
My
I guess.
my people are A1, chef's kiss.
Well, all right, cool, great. He's Canadian. All right. Well, he's definitely a good GM. Great, probably the best in baseball, honestly. I mean, the deals he's been doing with all the younger players
1000%.
to get these not these max deals, but to get all these long-term deals done and keep that core together, and then just adding more people like Nicky Lopez, Orlando Arcia. Let's see, who else has been pretty big this year? Kevin Pillar, actually, a little bit. Coming off the bench too.
Oh my God, yes. Pilar is like, yes.
And the
All of
let's see,
them.
Eddie Rosario, bringing him back, and then keeping Marcel. It just seems like everything they've been trying to do on
Works.
the offensive side has been working. Now, some of the pitching's got to get better, but you got Max Fried back, and he won last night. Did he win last week?
Who?
Max Fried. Did he win last week when he made his return start?
Oof,
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But he did win last night. He got the W. And
That was against the Mets, wasn't it? No. Friday night? Wasn't it Friday night?
I think it was against the Mets.
I don't know.
I think it was.
But yeah,
But he,
back on the mound,
but he looked
looking
good
good.
last night.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now I don't know when they're going to get Kyle Wright back or if they will, but
Gosh, I hate that coming off of a season that he just had. He might never have that season
know,
again.
I know.
To be the winningest pitcher in all of
In the
baseball
whole league.
and to get injured and like be out the entire season, you
Yeah.
might never come
Yeah.
back from that. I don't
mean,
want that.
Bryce
but
Elder was an all-star for the first half, and then it's kind of fallen off a little bit. So if they can get that pitching right, they've got – well, they already have an incredible chance based on their offense, but, like, they have a true legitimate shot at winning the World Series.
I mean, I think they definitely do.
I mean,
no
if
matter
that
what.
offense shows up, they might not
Gosh.
even need the pitching.
It's
That's the
like Georgia's
bad
defense 2 years ago.
part. Oh,
It didn't matter that
okay.
Stetson Bennett was the quarterback.
Okay. Well, let's give a little more credit to Stetson because he did make some plays.
We're going to find out, and I've said this before, we're going to find out this season how important Stetson was.
Okay, we're talking
This
about Braves.
is
guys.
when we're gonna
talking about
find
Braves.
out.
We're gonna go back to Braves.
We're going to find out if the
Oh my
Dogs
God.
lose this year. It's going to be because Stetson's not there. And then we'll all be like, oh, yeah, Stetsy was the man. With the mustache, by the way. Did you see it? Full-blown mustache like Arthur Smith.
Good for
Ugh.
him.
Braves, go ahead.
I just want to throw this out there.
I
So
knew
the
you wanted
Braves
to
in
throw
all
something out
offensive
there.
numbers, by the way, they are leading in OPS. They are leading in average. They are
Ops.
leading home runs by 30. 96. Oh yeah, over 30. Barely, just over 30. Leading home runs. They're leading in RBIs by 16, and they're also leading in runs. They're literally sweeping all of the team categories in offense.
No surprise. They
That's
are
crazy.
just monstrous.
So cool.
Good luck for everybody who
Good
has to
luck-
face them the
good-
rest
Good
of the
luck,
way.
Yankees tonight.
I'm like the only team, like if you think about it, right? Like postseason, I mean, maybe when they played the Rays, though, the Braves did a great job. So you think like I'm trying to think of matchups during the postseason that could like anyhow
only
interrupt the juju going
The
on
only
right
real
now.
trouble they've had, Cincinnati for a series when
Oh, that was
De La
yeah.
Cruz
That
got
was
called
good.
up.
That was good. That was a good series.
But I don't know if I don't think the Reds are going to be there in the end.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, you look right now and you're like, they're above everybody else. Even if they lose one game.
It feels like it's them and the Dodgers again in the National League.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman's still right there. He's got an MVP caliber season 2.
Delicious. Get in your seats.
And
Buckle in, folks.
And then maybe they get
Here's what I found.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, she found something.
Thanks, Siri. So maybe they get past the Dodgers. Maybe they go to the World Series. Maybe they face the Astros again. Get to beat them again. I don't know. We'll see.
I like how you said they get to beat them again. All right, let's move on. Calvin Ridley, the former Falcon, first-round pick out of Lee's, Alabama, now with the Jags after being suspended a year for betting on the game. I just want to, this was an idea that I came up with. I read an article on ESPN, and I was like, let's talk about Ridley, because he says, everybody wants me to be rusty, right? Why? Why do you want me to be rusty? I can play football. I'm never going to think I'm going to be rusty. So after almost 2 years, Lee? I mean, it's almost been 2 years of him not catching a pass in the NFL. He's getting a new start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's got one of the best quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, I should say, in the league, and Trevor Lawrence, who definitely turned the corner last season. Towards the end of the season, he was looking very good. But he has a team which sounds like believes in him, a quarterback who can throw the ball. I don't think Ridley, in my opinion, it sounds like he has a chip on his shoulder right now, and I would too if I were him. But basically he's saying, like, just because I've been out for 2 years, it doesn't mean that I cannot play football anymore. And if there's one thing that I know about athletes, we both know this. They literally work out every day. They do all the things that they need to do, take care of their bodies. Ridley was posting videos with his trainers, like, very religiously, showing that he could still do all the things.
Hey, he wants to be back on that field.
So there's no reason for me to believe, Lee, that he has skipped a beat at all. If you can play ball, you're young, your body is ready, you can play ball, period.
Yeah, he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be jacked up to the max, ready to go. I don't see why he can't, have another 1,000-yard season. I mean, 2020 was his best season. He had over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that was with Matt Ryan pretty much at the end.
At the end of Matt Ryan.
At the end of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get that kind of production out of a guy that doesn't have much left in the tank, I mean, what could you do with a guy who's got all the potential in the world to be an all-pro quarterback?
Yep. And he said, if I drop a pass, that doesn't mean I'm rusty. I just dropped it. And today, me and Lee saw Kyle Pitts. Kyle, I just made up a name. Kyle Pitts drop a pass right in front of us. Literally, feet from us.
It happens.
Nobody's saying he's rusty or can't play ball, and he's been out, half of a year because of an injury, or more than half of a year. So I think he brings up a good point, and I think that chip on his shoulder is going to definitely help him come September, game 1. And you know what? He's going to face the Falcons overseas, and he's going to have he's going to ball out. 171-yard game.
Triple digits receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. He's going to be doing the dirty bird in the end zone.
The Falcons just be like, dang, man. He had to go and bet.
Yeah.
If he just stayed off the betting apps.
Yep. So there you go. But in this article, I do want to point out before we move on that they were making, ESPN's making some comparisons between other players who've been suspended and coming back. And I saw that they talked about Darren Waller, who's now with the Giants, who used to play at Georgia Tech. And he went 700 days between NFL game appearances. He was suspended for the 2017 season, if you'll remember, for violating the league's substance abuse policy.
Okay.
And then in 2018, the Raiders signed him to the practice squad. He played 4 games that season. 2019-2020, he put up career numbers surpassing 1,000 yards receiving and 90 catches each season. And then I think he signed the richest contract of any tight end in the league And then he got traded to the Giants. But
How weird is it, like professional sports sometimes?
yeah, I mean,
It's
he
crazy.
got paid. But all that to say, he didn't
Dude
play
was out
for
of the
a
league
very
for a whole
long
year,
time.
and then what? Fast forward 2 years later, max contract.
Yeah,
What?
because he could still play.
So
So,
hey, Calvin, I think he's got a lot left in the tank.
yes,
A
that's the
lot.
thing is they were young enough and taking care of their bodies.
I mean, you think that's a whole year that he wasn't taking hits and he wasn't running
yeah.
to tear ACLs or anything like that. So like, I think he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Him and Trevor Lawrence.
All right, what's on your mind?
What's on your mind? You go first.
Oh, because you don't know, so you're trying to think.
No, I know, but just
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
do?
Go ahead.
All right, what's on my mind?
Putting you on the spot about that.
I know. Well,
Do you have something on your mind?
I do.
Okay.
So the Dogs kick off their season against UT Martin, 6 p.m., September 2nd. Mm-hmm. They're the national champs. You take a look at their schedule. I mean, they might have the easiest schedule in all college ball. That's why some people say they're going to three-peat, make a little bit of history. But, like, my real thing, and Kirby says it, and he has had to answer this question quite a bit, and it's true. He's like, I can't control the schedule. And imagine if strength of schedule truly mattered this season.
Oh,
Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, they would definitely be penalized by that.
I mean, that schedule
Yeah.
is so ugly because the opponents, and no disrespect to the opponents, they're not very good.
Well, okay. So the only defense, the only thing I can say in their defense is that they had originally had Oklahoma on the schedule.
Yes. The SEC said take them off.
But the SEC took it off.
Yeah.
So
yes.
that's really. But even then, it's like, is
You got
Oklahoma even
Ball
that good this
State.
year? Like,
And UT,
I mean, I know they're
in
better
the top
than,
25.
I know. Well, I know they're going to be better than Ball State and whatever Middle Tennessee.
When
who do they kick
people-
off with?
UT
Martin.
Yes.
Sorry, not Middle Tennessee. Sorry, Middle Tennessee.
Tennessee.
UT Martin.
UT
So,
Martin.
I don't know. That.
Oh, so
Well, what was on my mind?
wait. But what my mind is asking me
mine's
is
the same thing as yours.
is this: are people actually going to show up to those games?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Are they?
No, well, yes.
Maybe for like the
yes.
first 10 minutes and go
People-
home, and then
people-
Kirby's going to be
people show
mad
up
and
for-
explain how he's mad,
Yeah,
like Saban does.
Like the Saban problem.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
So
gonna.
we're-
I mean, they'll show for half. Come on now. It's
Okay.
football in the South, and it's
A
football
si-
season.
no,
People will
it's,
show up.
It's 6 p.m. College kids want
will
to
show
party.
up, I promise
like,
you.
let's be
Look,
honest.
it's gonna. I honestly think it will be a sellout, but by halftime, I don't think it's gonna be half.
It'll be
capacity.
cleared.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be at a bar having a good time,
No, but that's
celebrating their third national championship already.
What, hey now, let's not do. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky.
All right, go.
Basically, that was what I was gonna say was. How incredibly easy is that? I mean, honest to God, they have like 2
Ole
games?
Miss.
They have-
Ole Miss
they have
at
2?
home.
In Tennessee.
Auburn at Auburn, Tennessee
I
at
mean,
Tennessee. Those are the
Auburn's
ones
got-
that
Auburn's got a new
you never
coach. I
know.
don't
When you
really-
play
I-
away from homely, you never know.
I
But
mean,
I
unless
agree
something
with you. This
insane
schedule
happens.
is cushy cush. The cushiest of the cushiest.
I mean, trust me, I would love to have that for my team. Promise you, I wouldn't feel bad at all if that was my team that they had that schedule.
I know, Lee. I'm sorry. But imagine if your team ends up playing Georgia in the SEC championship game. After playing the schedule they played without beating somebody or just having one loss, they are
That's true.
going to be a better team for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Georgia's
Yeah.
defense is what you got to get through, not that offense.
Well,
That's just my. Brock Bowers is the offense, and then you got all of Georgia's defense. So figure that
they
out.
got running backs too and an offensive line. So.
Baby
there's
back, Branson.
All right, well, I guess that will do it for us today, August 15th, 2023. See you
Gosh.
tomorrow.
Good night, guys.